Hey, what's up? This is Zuby.
And this is Gary Leland, and you're listening to episode 127 of the Crypto Cousins podcast.
Feed your interest in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies by joining Hall of Fame podcaster Gary Leland on the Crypto Cousins podcast. And remember, we are all cousins in the world of crypto.
Howdy, howdy, howdy. Zuby, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot, Gary. Happy to be here, man.
Hey, I'm pretty excited about this interview. I'm much more excited about this interview after researching you. That's kind of weird. But after
cool.
researching you, I really enjoyed the research on you. And so I want to find out a little bit before we go on, though. How'd you get the name Zuby?
It's just a shortened version of my full name. So my full first name is Unzube. And so Zuby is just a shortened version of that.
Okay, I didn't put that together when I was looking on my research that was a shorter version of your name.
No worries.
Okay, that was something I was curious about. And I noticed no one ever asked you. So I said, well, that's kind of weird. I'm kind of curious.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself real quick before we get into it. Just a short, real quick bio.
Yeah, no problem. So I'm Zuby. I'm a professional independent rapper who has sold over 25,000 albums independently without a label. I'm the host of the Real Talk with Zuby podcast. I'm the author of the fitness book, Strong Advice, Zuby's Guide to Fitness for Everybody. And I also do some public speaking and other entrepreneurial ventures.
Well, you're kind of like MC Hammer in a way then, doing your own albums. Huh? That's how he started, is his own albums in this
Not sure if that's a person I want to be compared to, but
no, I meant the fact that you're a businessman. You started doing your own deal rather than going to records. I mean, I think that's a lot. I think that's a thing.
MC Hammer. I think MC Hammer went straight to the record companies. I don't think he did his thing independently.
Oh, I thought he was selling his albums out of his trunk first. From what I understand, he was printing vinyl and selling it out of his trunk, and then he got discovered.
Maybe at the very, very beginning. I know a lot of people started like that back in the, what would that be, 80s now? But
yeah, I'm sure it is.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know his full. I don't know his full origin story, to be honest.
Well, I wasn't comparing you to Hammer in any way, except maybe you sold your own records and weren't going through a label. So I was meaning it as, I was meaning that as a compliment, not as any kind of knock or anything. So you also, though, I was very impressed. You graduated from Oxford, and you grew up in Saudi Arabia. Went to American school there. That's why I don't pick up the English accent, I guess.
Yeah, it's not too strong.
Yeah, it's not too strong. And computer science major. That's pretty cool. You must be the same age as my daughter because she graduated in 2007 also.
Oh, really?
So,
okay. Yeah. I'm 33, so.
She's 33. Yeah, y'all are the same
age.
I figured you must be about the same age. Yeah. So I want to get into your music first. Let's face it, I'm 65 and I'm a boomer. Okay. See, I said that in reverse. Boomer, okay, instead of okay, boomer.
So are lots of my fans, man. Nothing wrong with that.
Well, I enjoyed your music, to be honest
Thank
with
you.
There's some rap music I like. Most of it I don't. I have to admit. The thing I enjoyed about your music was the fact that you weren't cussing all the time or using the N-word, and you had pretty positive messages. And I think your philosophy in life, from what I can figure out, is pretty much a positive message. I didn't hear you say this, but basically to pick yourself up by your bootstraps and get going at it instead of sitting around moping and whining and waiting for someone to help you. So am I right there?
Yeah, definitely. I'm about people fulfilling their potential. I think every single one of us has a crazy amount of potential in terms of what we can achieve if we actually harness that and go for it. So I'm not big on making excuses or seeing yourself as a victim or anything like that. I think, especially if you live in the modern Western world, if you have some gratitude and perspective for just how fortunate you are in that regard, regardless of who you are, then the sky is really the limit, especially in this day and age.
Yeah, I think there's nothing anyone can't do if they attempt to do it. I mean, there's some things that you can dream of that are the impossible dream, but I mean, things you want to do. Like, I'm not going to become a multi-billionaire probably at 65. I might luck up. That would be pretty lucky.
But the thing is, it's feasibly possible. It's not impossible, right? You could invent some total world-changing app or piece of software or product or something, which means that is actually possible. Like that's the thing. It doesn't mean that all of us are going to do everything, and we all have our own abilities and capacities in different areas and everything like that, but we still all have crazy potential, right? My potential might not be that I'm able to be the best swimmer in the world or the best ice skating champion, but there are other things that I have talent in that those world champion ice skaters don't have. And I can go into those areas and I can achieve a level of success in those. So I think it's about recognizing what your capabilities are, where your talents and your interests lie and intersect. And then, like I said, not making excuses, just going for it, persevering, and trying to overcome obstacles and get over naysayers and self doubt and limiting beliefs and all that. So I really try to empower people through my music and everything else I do.
Well, when I was researching you, most of the videos I found on YouTube, well, not even with the exception of your show even,
Mm.
are all, I would guess, more based on political views or political points of view, maybe
Um,
liberalism versus conservatism.
not that much actually. I mean, lots of my interviews, just because of the nature of how things blew up for me last year, I got invited onto a lot of political shows, and I mean, the vast majority of my message and what I do is probably less than 10%
Okay,
political. I
I
think
guess
a
just
lot of
what was
people.
popping up on my channel was.
Yeah, sure, yeah, but I think some of the interviews I've done that were the most popular were the ones with, like you said, Candace Owens, the one I did with Sargon of Akkad, the one I did with Joe Rogan, Ben Shapiro, Dave Rubin. You know, some of those people are directly in the political sphere, whereas others, guys like Joe Rogan, he's not particularly political, but he's kind of viewed through that lens because I think we live in a very politicized world. So even if you're not super political yourself. Like, I don't consider myself super duper political, but I'm happy to talk about it. I'm happy to talk about society and culture and sort of share my view on these things. And it's very hard to do that without getting involved in some political conversations at times. But yeah, I'm fine. I'm very much an open book. I'm multifaceted. I can talk about a big range of different things.
But I pretty much say you get what you see with me. I'm not going to like
Yeah.
fool you. And I guess now that you're saying that, I must have seen those shows because I am a conservative leaning person.
There you go.
So the shows I'm going to watch that Google's going to YouTube's going to pick up on my algorithm are more conservative shows. So
Yeah.
when I searched your name, it probably said Zuby. This guy's a conservative. Let's give him the conservative stuff. And so, because I saw almost all those shows you named that you were interviewed on.
Okay.
So while we're on that subject of those, and well, first of all, we stayed there, but I didn't bring Zuby on here to get into politics. I rarely talk politics. Actually, I am so anti talking politics that if you're on my Facebook feed or my Twitter feed and you start ranting, I don't care if you're ranting conservative or liberal, I quit following just because I don't want to see it. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm going to be sitting here at 65 going, oh my gosh, my whole life I've been conservative, but that tweet just really changed my whole view.
Yeah,
I'm
you've
going
been
to
doing it
change
wrong.
my whole life because of that tweet. So
Yeah.
I definitely find it funny when people think they can save us to their leaning, no matter what it is, from that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but while we're talking about that, the shows I found you on, all those shows I found you on, I think with the exception of Candace Owens, they all brought you on because of your European or English weightlifting, women's weightlifting records, basically.
Yeah.
And I thought that was funny. That got you a lot of press.
Oh gosh, man. Yeah, I mean, my audience has increased tenfold at least since that tweet went viral. But I think what happened with that is it was really a catalyst because, of course, I've been building up my music career and all my other abilities and my own skill stack and range of, kind of catalog of things that I do, music, videos, all that stuff. And then that was the catalyst that led to a lot of people discovering me. But what happened is once they saw that, they realized, oh, okay, there's a lot more to this guy than just this one funny tweet or deadlift. So my followers have just continued to grow. My audience has grown very, very significantly, getting the opportunities to go on some of the biggest podcasts in the world. I mean, I think if it had just been any random viral tweet, stuff goes viral every day, and
Right.
most people don't particularly care. The people behind them don't go viral. But in my own case, I think, yeah, people saw that there was that was just the tip of the iceberg, and that Zuby's an interesting guy. So I assume that's why I'm here on this podcast right now.
Yes, it is. I also want to make sure people know because I didn't know this, and so I just want to bring this up. When you posted that you did the women's championship with ease. You
Yeah.
broke the records. You weren't at an official event.
No, no,
Those
it
were
was
videos of you just that you had on your phone from your regular workouts.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Which was sort of half of the point. It was like, yeah, I'm not trying here. Like this is just from one of my random training sessions and I can demolish the record. So that kind of is making my point.
Yeah, I thought that made a point that a lot of
Yeah.
people believe in also. Now, you also have the podcast, which I
Hmm.
subscribe to because I enjoyed learning about you from researching you,
I
and
appreciate
gave
it.
you a 5-star review. And I recommend anyone go pull up that podcast. It's on
Real talk.
iTunes for sure.
Yeah. Real talk with Zuby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I haven't listened to an episode yet, but I looked it up just like 5 minutes ago. I said, I'm going to go ahead and subscribe to this. I really have enjoyed what I've heard so far. You also have a book.
Hmm. Strong Advice, Zuby's Guide to Fitness for Everybody. It's helped over 1,000 people to improve their fitness, get in shape, build muscle, lose weight, get stronger, stay motivated. Yeah, that's available at my website, teamzuby.com. And yeah, that book's really been, I wish I had it out when that deadlift video was going viral, but yeah, it's really, really having a positive impact on a lot of people. So I'm very proud of it. It'll be my first book of many.
Hey, on the deadlifting, did you get a lot of blowback on that?
Um, yes, but only because so many people saw it. I mean, just the tweet itself did 7 million impressions.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
that's not even counting the impressions on Facebook and Instagram and television and all these podcasts and everything. So millions upon millions of people saw that.
Yes,
I'd
when you
say,
have that many numbers, you're going to have blowback.
oh, of course. Yeah. I'd say 99% of the responses were positive, right? Most people thought it was funny, but even 1% out of millions of people is a lot of blowback still. But I'm used to dealing with blowback. I quite like dealing with blowback. It's fun.
Something I saw you mentioning to, well, I can't remember what show I was watching it on, which I thought was a really interesting statement, which was the only thing I shared this morning when I went into the office. I'm over here at my studio now, and I did my research this morning, went in the office, did my work with everybody, was your opinion on the term people of color. I thought that was so amazing of an opinion.
Oh, thank
I
you.
don't know where I saw you saying that. I was like going, that is so true. That
Yeah.
just, would you, and like I said, I'm not trying to be political. I just found this such a great, I've never heard anyone say anything about that term, and I've never thought
Mm,
about it until
okay.
you said it. And so would you mind going over that real quick?
Yeah, sure. So I think this was in my Ben Shapiro Sunday special interview because he used the term people of color, and I almost kind of corrected him, saying, "Yeah, I don't like that term. I don't use that term." So I maintain that the only reason, so people of color just means non-white, okay, and I don't think that anybody needs a word for that unless they're either a radical leftist or like a white supremacist KKK type, right? Because why do you need a word that just means everybody who is not white, right? Sometimes I say this, I criticize the word, and then people are like, "Oh, well, which word would you prefer to use?" And I'm like, why do you need that word? What's the word for everybody who's not black,
Right, right,
right? What's the word for everybody who's not Arab? What's the word for everybody who's not Asian? There's no word. So, and all of those demographics, by the way, on a global level, I think there are more black people. There's certainly more Asian people than there are white people. So, on a global level, white people are actually minority. So, why should the whole framing be in white versus everybody else? Like, I think the term in itself is actually very divisive, and most people don't think about it this way. But when you sort of explain it, most people are like, "That's actually a very good point." Like, why do we have a term, and it's a relatively new term as well. It wasn't really, it's been popularized a lot over the last decade. I don't use it personally. I'm not a fan of it. And I just don't think it's necessary. And it's also not particularly useful because even if you did want to be a little more specific, you can be way more specific, right? So you could just say like a black person or an Asian person right? You could go more granular rather than just this sort of like blob of people of color, which is like 90% of the world's population,
right.
excluding white people. And by that note, again, it's also exclusive. It's just like, well, why are you having this term that just means everybody but white people? Like, how's that an inclusive term? It just doesn't, it's never made sense to me. It's one of those things like off the bat, I never liked the term. And it took me like a little bit of thinking, I think, to understand why I didn't like it. And then there's also the fact that, saying colored person is now deemed very un-PC and inoffensive, but saying person of color is fine.
Oh,
I mean,
I
that
never
would
even
be,
thought it that way. You just reversed it.
it's like, it would be like me saying, tall person is offensive, but person of height is politically correct. It's like, it's the same. It's just syntax. It's the same thing. Why is one super PC and the other one, if you said it in public, people are gonna like attack you and come down on you for it? The whole thing doesn't make sense, I think. But with a lot of things, I think when things get mainstreamed, people sort of stop questioning them, and people just use certain terms and phrases and things without really thinking about what they mean or the origin of them or why they're using them. And I think that people of color, or POC as people shorten it to, which is even worse. I think that, yeah, that's one of those terms that's just happened with.
Yeah, when I heard you say that this morning on the show, I was like, "Oh my gosh, that makes so much sense to me." I think,
Yeah.
I grew up in the deep South in the United States, and I'm
Mm,
65. So I've seen racism at its worst. I mean, when I was a
sure.
kid, I remember one time I was a kid, 5 years old, and I had to go to the bathroom, and the white bathroom was broken, and my mom wouldn't let me use the bathroom, and I kept going, "I can't use the damn bathroom. It's right there." And
Wow.
she said, "Can't use that bathroom. You got to wait till you get home." And I remember I
Wow.
was crying. I had to really go to the bathroom real bad. And that was kind of weird. And then in high
Yeah.
school, they integrated the schools. So my island, I grew up on a small island with two schools, a
On a,
black
on an
school and a
isle-
white school.
on an island, did you say?
Yes, yes, on the
Oh.
coast of South Carolina.
Oh,
And
okay. What island is that? I didn't know there were islands
James
down there.
Island off of Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay,
Um,
interesting.
yeah, yeah. So it's not far from Savannah. I heard you
Mm.
interviewing someone from Savannah. I was watching when I got through a couple minutes
Oh
ago.
yeah.
But yeah, so I grew up when I was in ninth grade, I think they
Mm.
closed the black school.
Hmm.
And then everybody went to one school, which I never understood anyway, because they just had a whole school sitting there. Why didn't they just cut the island in half,
Yeah, yeah,
or something, use both schools?
yeah.
And I think the way it was done was not right, because nobody liked it, black or white, especially
Mm,
black
mm.
people. They had a school across the street, and they had to come
Yeah,
way to hell over there,
yeah, yeah,
so it was no good at all. So I've seen it from its worst, but I felt like it got a lot better
yeah,
in the 80s and 90s than it is now. So I
yeah.
saw it at its worst. I think I saw it get a lot
Mm,
better, and then
mm.
now I think it's not like it was, of course, in the '60s,
No,
but I think
no.
it's worse than it was in the '80s.
Yeah, it's like people are reopening the wound, isn't it? I
Yeah,
think that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing like
that's
people.
exactly the term.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
exactly it.
It's like the wound has healed, the scab is there, and then people are like picking at it, like trying to reopen it. And I'm like, why are you doing this? Why are you trying to divide people along these same lines again? Right? Like
Yeah,
we kind of,
exactly. What's
you
the
know,
what's the goal?
yeah, it's weird. That's why I push back against this stuff a lot, because I think it's very insidious. I do believe, look, most people, certainly in the Western world, people like to have this frame that, America is a brutally racist country, UK is a brutally racist country. Firstly, the people saying that haven't been anywhere, so they're comparing. I don't even know what they're comparing to. They're comparing to their imagined utopia. They're certainly not comparing to history, because you were just talking about how divided it was, and we know those stories. um, but yeah, I think it's very insidious. The vast majority of people in the modern West really don't care. Right? It's just like it's a thing, right? As I'm looking at you and we're talking, like we're just talking. I'm looking at you as I'm talking to Gary. I'm not talking to a
Yeah,
65 year
exactly.
old. I'm not looking at you as a 65-year-old
Yeah.
white man per se, right? I'm just talking to you like I talk to a friend, like I talk to anybody else. It's like, yeah, sure, of course we can see what each other look like, but it's just weird when people make it such a. I imagine, like, imagine if I don't know, imagine if we lived in a society where, based on someone's hair color or somebody's height, right, you like address them or put them in some category and treated them to it would be that would be really, really weird and silly, which is
Or
why.
it's like a
Yeah.
Star Trek episode I saw when I was a kid. I don't know. Did you ever
Okay.
watch Star Trek?
No, I never got into it.
They had these guys that raided their spaceship. These two guys were going across the universe or something fighting, and they were going, his race is terrible, and the other guy was going, his race is terrible, and they had faces that were half white and half black.
Oh,
That's how their
really?
bodies were. That's how their bodies were. And they were fighting. They
Okay.
hated each other. He goes, and
Yeah.
the people at Star Trek go, "What in the world are y'all fighting? Y'all are the same race." He goes, "No, his
Yeah.
right side's black." my left side's black. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's funny.
But they were fighting over because they were
Yeah,
different, because they were the different halves of their bodies were
that's actually
black
very
and the
funny.
different halves were white.
Yeah, but yeah,
You know,
that shows how silly it is. It shows how silly like sort of normal racism is in the sort of old school sense that existed, decades and centuries ago in the West, or still exists and permeates in some other parts of the world, or this whole new uh, type of identity politics that's also sprung up. It just shows, an example like that thing in Star Trek, right? It's a sort of silly example, but it shows how silly the whole thing is, right? Like, why
right.
would you place such a huge value on that thing that without knowing anything else about that person or interacting with them or that group, you have this animosity or hatred or viciousness or discrimination or anything like that? I'm just like, whatever, like who cares? Yeah, people are born in different parts of the world, and depending on where you're from and your bloodline, people look different. Like, cool. That's kind of cool. Like, it's
Yeah.
interesting. But like it doesn't say much else beyond that. It doesn't determine
Right.
your heart. It doesn't determine your brain. It doesn't determine
It,
your capabilities.
it
It's
doesn't
just
determine who you are. I
no,
mean,
not at all.
basically.
It's
Yeah.
no, it's just. I mean, if you remove that top layer, we all look the same,
Yeah, that's
right?
that's true. Once you
Right?
get off that eighth of an inch, that
Yeah,
eighth of
it's
an
like
inch
you
there.
remove that layer. It's like, okay, now tell me which one is the white guy, the black guy, the Asian. It's like no one can tell. They just look like you know, those muscle charts where you've got the guy with like stripped of the skin, and you just see the
Yes.
yeah, the biology charts. And you just see those like that's
Yeah.
what everyone looks like.
Yeah, everybody looks the same under there.
Everybody looks like
Hey,
that. Yeah.
now I went into all this because I just found it so refreshing to talk to you, and I never talk about this stuff ever
Mm.
with anyone. So you're probably the first person I have talked about this with since I was a kid.
Okay.
So we're going to get back on to what I brought you on to talk about. My audience is a cryptocurrency audience, but I think now
Okay.
they have an idea of who you are. Maybe they have more of an idea of who I am now. That's good or bad for my audience.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, before we go on to that, I do want to talk about BitBlockBoom. If you're listening and you're not familiar with my conference, BitBlockBoom, it's a real Bitcoin conference. It's in Dallas, Texas every year. And I say real Bitcoin conference because that's all we talk about is Bitcoin. We don't talk about altcoins. We don't talk about blockchain. We just talk about Bitcoin. This will be the third year for BitBlockBoom. So if you're in August, you can come to BitBlockBoom, check out the website, bitblockboom.com. But if you're into Bitcoin and love Bitcoin, you'll love this conference. So check it out today. I'm sure you haven't heard of my conference before, have you?
I haven't before, but I like the logo. It looks like a video game.
Yeah, it was designed by a guy out of Europe, I think. He's a
Okay.
really Bitcoin fanatic over there. But yeah,
Nice.
we been doing this for a while now on my show. It's about Bitcoin. And I know I did an episode the other day on another one of my podcasts, 4-Minute Crypto Show. I found a story about you on your site taking
Mhm.
Bitcoin.
Yeah,
And
I accept Bitcoin.
yeah, go ahead. Go tell us about it.
Yeah,
How
sure.
did you
No,
find Bitcoin? Tell us about Bitcoin and you.
yeah, sure. Oh gosh. So I first invested in Bitcoin actually in late 2017, just before the super hype crazy mania phase where Bitcoin reached 20K.
About the same
Um,
time I did then.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's when I first got into it. But I actually first heard about it. This is one of those ones where you start kicking yourself. I heard about it years before that, but I thought it was just like another thing like PayPal, or I thought it was some kind of in-game currency that you use in like computer games and stuff. I
Right.
just didn't look into it, right? I didn't know it was this decentralized, limited supply, sort of totally immutable, just yeah, like all the things that make Bitcoin. I didn't realize what it was really until 2017 when I did my own research, and I was actually sold on the concept pretty quickly. I mean, I'm a fairly libertarian minded guy. Of course, I'm a computer science graduate, so I understood some of the technicalities of it maybe better than the average person would. And I was just like, wow, this is an incredible idea, both technologically and in terms of the use case, and also in terms of being an investment. So ever since that point, I've been invested in Bitcoin, as well as a handful of other cryptos. I went through that crazy altcoin phase of buying like owning
I
like 20
think
owning
I
like
think
20
all people who get into
yeah,
crypto do that.
yeah. Owning like 20 different coins or something, and
Yeah.
thinking I could diversify by owning tons without realizing
Or
that,
thinking you're
you
going to
know,
hit the next one that you're going to buy
exactly.
for a couple of
Yeah,
dollars and
yeah,
be
yeah.
worth thousands.
Because in 2017, stuff went crazy. You had to see 100x's and 500x's and all that. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to throw stuff at this dartboard here. And then obviously for the next 2 years, I had to deal with all of the pain of the market going down. But I learned a lot of valuable lessons, and I did a lot more research and education and reading and talking to people about the topic in that time frame. So yeah, I've now been invested for a couple of years. I accept Bitcoin for all of my products and services, whether people want to buy my book or my music or my t-shirts or even my services like my coaching and consulting and stuff. I'm very happy to accept Bitcoin, and I do accept Bitcoin. Like I've received, I do get paid in it as well. So it's not just an investment or some kind of fantasy for the future. It's something that I do use like right now.
Well, I noticed on your site you accept Bcash and a few other cryptos too, though.
Yeah, I think it's Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, and Litecoin on this site.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing that I think when I did the article and the show on 4 Minute Crypto about you that really appealed to me was there are a lot of people who are taking Bitcoin. I mean, there really
Mm.
are, but there's not as many companies or people taking Bitcoin and hodling it. That's
Okay.
what got me is the fact you were
Okay.
hodling the Bitcoin. You weren't just like going, okay, because I mean, it's easy to accept Bitcoin and go, okay, I can
Mhm.
cash this out, have it sent to me in cash instead of have it sent to me in Bitcoin. Because there are
Yeah.
sites or stores or shopping cart services that'll just send you the cash,
Hmm.
and you pay just like a credit card fee, processing fee. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
the fact you were hodling it is what I found interesting and why I contacted you because I thought, oh, this guy really does know what's going on here. He's not just going, oh, I can get some extra fiat by taking their
Yeah.
Bitcoin. He's interested in the Bitcoin itself.
Yeah, definitely, man. I prefer receiving Bitcoin than fiat. Like anyone wants to pay me, then please send me your Bitcoin.
Yeah,
I will keep it
I'm the
safe.
same way.
Yeah.
I'd love to get their Bitcoin.
I will keep it safe.
Yeah, I just don't get enough of it. I have some e-commerce stores, and I don't get hardly any Bitcoin on there. I've said all they send me is fiat. I don't think my
Yeah,
customers have Bitcoin. My average customers.
that's fair
Now you
enough.
use ZubyMusic.com as your site where your store's at, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, well, zubymusic.com is my main website, and my store is teamzuby.com.
Okay, and I
Yeah.
noticed on your, I tell you, I said this earlier, and I'm not just like trying to kiss your ass, but I'm real impressed with you on your videos.
Thank you.
On your music videos, you're wearing your gear that you sell in your store.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean the whole thing. You're putting it all together, and I don't see that often. Where
Yeah,
people
thank
are
you.
taking advantage of opportunities to market their whole thing as one big universe rather than.
Mm.
I mean, I think you're obviously you're a smart dude. You graduated from Oxford. I mean, just graduate from college, you got to have some kind of brains, and that's kind of a hard school there. So you got to be
Yeah.
real smart, I would think, to graduate from there.
Yeah, it
But
wasn't easy.
the fact you're putting it all together into the package, and now you've thrown in Bitcoin and crypto. But the thing I was curious about, you're using Coinbase Commerce for your shopping cart there, dude. I
Yes, I
mean,
was. Yes, I am.
yeah, yeah, you gotta clean that act up, man.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
need to
you're not
get
the
you on
first person to say that.
BTC Pay server, man.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think I've only received like my first actual merchandise Bitcoin payment last week. Someone bought a T-shirt off of me and paid
that's
in
probably from
Bitcoin.
your. So you're kind of like my stores. We're
Yeah, in
not
that
getting a
one.
ton of business. We got it available there. We want
No, well,
people to be paying.
I get business, but yeah, like you said, it's normally in fiat, right?
Yeah, that's what I
Um,
meant. Yeah, I get a lot of business, but it's always fiat.
yeah, yeah,
Now
but
on my
there's
Bitcoin conference, I get some Bitcoin because it's a Bitcoin
yeah,
conference.
exactly, exactly, yeah. But there's other stuff I've received Bitcoin for, more in terms of services rather than products. Though.
Well, I noticed. Speaking of that, you do offer other services on there.
Hmm.
You offer help on starting a fundraiser,
Yeah,
Kickstarters, and
yeah,
I
that's
mean,
right.
you
Yeah,
you really diversified into a lot of stuff.
I am. Yeah, I also do life coaching and I do social media coaching as well.
So tell me
For
about your
people.
social media coaching.
Yeah, sure. So I've been on Twitter since 2009. I've been on Facebook since 2004. And I've been on YouTube since 2006 and Instagram since I don't know, another 5 years or something. So Twitter especially, I mean, I'm a beast on Twitter. Like
Yeah.
I've grown my account. I've 10x my account in the last year. At the beginning of 2018, I had 18,000 followers. Yesterday, I hit 180,000 followers, and I doing about 50 to 60 million impressions a month
But here
consistently.
I'm trying to break six
So
thousand, dude, and you're
okay,
up
yeah,
there. You're up there in the hundreds.
yeah, man. So I know how to. I mean, Twitter is how I got on That's how I got on Rogan. That's how I got invited to the White House. That's how I got on all these shows. Lots of that stuff happened with Twitter.
But
It's
I
the
didn't know you got
catalyst.
invited to the White House.
Yeah, I got invited to the White House twice when I was in the States.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. Well, you're
Yeah,
invited to
yeah,
BitBlock Boom if you're over here in August.
yeah. Where is it?
It's in Dallas, Texas, dude.
Oh, I
That
love
could be your
Dallas.
best invitation yet. I mean,
I like Dallas, man.
Dallas
Dallas
is
is
fun.
cool.
It's a good conference. I mean, everybody there is a Bitcoin, but the rules are if you talk about any other crypto once, you're warned. Twice, you're taken out in the hallway and told you can't talk about it. Third time you talk about another crypto, you have to leave the conference.
Oh
So it's
wow, okay.
seriously a Bitcoin conference.
That's hardcore, man. Well,
It's
I've got a song about cryptocurrency, but it's not purely about Bitcoin. So
oh, is that on YouTube?
it is. It's called Cryptocurrently.
Oh, I didn't see that one. I hadn't heard that
Yeah,
one. I would have really been excited if I
yeah,
had heard that
yeah.
one.
I think I named about 40 different cryptos in the song.
Oh, okay. Well, just the fact
But
that you're spreading the word about crypto is great.
yeah, I wrote the lyrics so that whether or not you understand cryptocurrency and are familiar with the names, the lyrics still make sense.
Okay, I got you. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's still, yeah. So getting off of Bitcoin for a minute, I noticed that you don't cuss a lot in your videos. Do you
I
find
don't
it
cuss at
weird
all.
that everybody cusses all the time now? Like there's nothing to it, uses F-bombs and stuff just like it's regular language?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's been like that my whole life, to be honest.
Hmm.
So it's not new to me. And I've never used profanity. Like I don't. No one in my family swears. So it's just how I was raised, and I don't
Maybe
swear
since
in
I'm
real life.
65, I remember when people didn't do that
Yeah,
all the time.
yeah, maybe so. But like in my lifetime, it's always been there. But I don't cuss in real life, so I don't cuss in my music. That's all.
So, sorry, I was jumping off of the Bitcoin there again. But
That's
see,
okay,
this
man.
is
That's
an
okay.
interesting topic to me, so I'm just enjoying the talk here. So,
Yeah.
where can people follow you at? I mean, are you Zuby Music everywhere, or is it? I
Yep.
mean, okay, so you're the same handle everywhere.
At Zuby Music on everything: Twitter,
Okay, so
Facebook,
no matter what
Instagram.
your media of choices, you can
Yep.
find you there.
At Zuby
And
Music.
I don't want to. Oh, one more question. What podcast do you listen to?
What podcast do I listen to?
Yeah,
My top podcasts are the Joe Rogan Experience, the Rubin Report, Trigonometry, um, the Ben Shapiro Show. I listen to lots of the Daily Wire stuff. Actually, I do enjoy their stuff. I think it's funny. Um, if there's any other major, stuff you should know. I love.
oh, I've been listening to
Yeah,
that for years.
yeah,
That's a
stuff you
great
should
show.
know. Mm, and then I sort of, those are kind of my regulars, I'd say. I maybe have like 6 or 7 that I regularly listen to. And then I've got some that I'll dip in and out of, right, from different subjects,
Right.
or depending on who the
Well,
guest is and stuff like that.
I'm into podcasting, so I figure I start asking everybody that and find out the scoop on that. Is
Yeah,
there
sure.
anything that I didn't ask you that you want to make sure and get out there so that the listeners know?
No, not so specifically. I mean, I would encourage people to, check out my music online. It's on all the usual platforms: Apple Music, Spotify, iTunes. I've got tons of music videos on YouTube. My podcast is also on YouTube, and you can find my podcast, Real Talk with Zuby, everywhere. So please check it out if you've enjoyed this.
Well, thanks. Hey, I appreciate you coming on the show. I really do. I've enjoyed, like I said, researching. I always research everybody I interview, and researching you was quite a pleasure. And I'm serious. If you want to come, if you're in the U.S. in August, check out BitBlockBoom.com and come on down here. We'll get you in, and you'll be my guest. You'll have a good time. I promise you.
Awesome, man. I'll see what I can do.
Okay. Thanks again.
Take care.
This has been a CryptoPodcaster.com production.